But the players are always eager to play, to test their skills against one another. I think the issue is how best we can level the playing field between clubs, those the have and the have-nots. If you got clubs who, take for instance, police and the army, who come on, who could afford to have players through whatever contract agreement they have play football and be on the army or the police payroll and have them playing, well, that's a bonus for them. But the other clubs who may have a small sponsor who may be willing to invest maybe $1 million or $2 million to the club, it poses a challenge, because even as a club as Fruta Conquerors, who have been fortunate to have a sponsor who's been there for them, and last year was pretty challenging because they told us that their sales were affected because of the global pandemic and people not working and all these various things. So the kind of subventions that we would normally get last year, we did not get. So we're hoping that this year will be a little brighter year, so we'll be able to offset the coaches' expenses and these kind of things. But for other clubs who don't have a major corporate sponsor coming on board, those things really pose a challenge. But and I don't see us, because that has been with us for a number of years. That the issue of being able to play players and compensate players. And that's been around for a number of years, and the history. Akeem, is just, I think...
What would you recommend?
Well, it's not what I would recommend. I think the only safe avenue for compensation is if the government really gets on board. Other than that, looking at the structure with corporate Guyana and what they have, I'm not sure how many corporations are going to be willing to, because we have a budget. We've done a budget before. When the elite league started under Clinton Erling, our former president, who's not the president of GFF, and myself, Mr. Ford, we had done a detailed budget, what was required, because the normalization committee had asked us to do that. And it came up to like between $6-7 million a year to safely, and that's like a basic budget to cover the players paying everybody like a fixed salary, maybe at something like $40,000-50,000 a month, to offset all the expenses. And I'm not certain who we'll be able to get in terms of corporate Guyana to sponsor a team to that level of finances every year. So there in itself poses a challenge. You could look at different mechanisms. I mean, Trinidad had something going where the government was standing some of the expenses to the pro clubs, and we all saw what happened when the government either reduced or took away that subvention, that many clubs suffered, and the pro league did suffer. I mean, we had players who they had to come back home because the clubs couldn't just afford to play foreign players. So that continues to pose a challenge. The system that the GFF is now trying to implement is one that would help in terms of it would provide some amount of support in terms of the equipment and helping us to help our coaches get further qualified. And but it doesn't, the input in terms of the financial resources is not that huge that it's going to make a difference to us being able to contract players.